Alright. I'm just a tad bit early today. But this is gonna be I imagine it's gonna be a fairly chill, laid-back episode. Because it's just gonna be, hang out, grind, upgrade armor. Because upgrading the armor is what's on today's agenda. I don't remember if there was a single other thing on today's agenda, but that is what I remember. So, I'll probably be able to actually make this stream go on for a while. I am also small, but this is because I am sitting further away from the camera because there is a ceiling fan in here that doesn't do anything if I'm not sitting under it. So yeah, I'm gonna do my usual grinding trickery. By usual, I mean I have done it exactly once. And that is, I'm going to go to Sen's Fortress and just kill a handful of things there on repeat until I have the stuff I want. The XP and whatnot. Then I'm gonna run around to the other part of Sen's Fortress where there's the guy who sells green titanite. I think he might have also sold something else, but I don't exactly remember. I'm probably going to need fun objects like large titanite and titanite chunks. And if I do need those, then that could be a bit of a tough. I'll start by seeing what all I need just to upgrade to the next level. I am also going to be resting at bonfires and such, which means I'll have to remember how to actually get back to the bonfire I just warped from, because I don't remember the path there. Reinforced armor. Let's see. So tattered hood, large titanite, and so close rope. Titanite slab. See, I can upgrade most of this stuff a little bit, but titanite slab is something I don't think I've ever seen. So I'll probably focus on the robe, because it's the highest level. And yeah, seems like I'll be most likely to be able to get it up to snuff. Alright, officially I cannot just whimsy myself back to where I was by dying. Man, I probably should have prepared some weaker pyromancy. Anyway, Let's check this out for evil eye. Even though steel protection, probably not a bad idea. I just think being able to recover damage would be useful. Okay, so I might be a little bit rusty at this particular area. Oh my god, I was never that good at this. Blub beverage. Oh yeah, this place. Man, this feels weird. It's been so long since I've been back here. Man, I can two-shot these guys at this point. I'm powerful. I should not let that go to my head, because that is the shortcut to dying. Other shortcut to dying is that elevator. It's fun. It's a little bit of fun, if you know, you know. Who is angering? I just hear loud anger noises. Ooh. Yeah, see, that's why I was like, I need to not let the power go to my head. I'm gonna die. But that's also why I'm here, is to get better armor so things can't instantly kill me like that. Let's replace like Great Fireball with something more toned down and useful, like regular Fireball. Alright. Sitting on all sorts of cords. Yeah. Okay. It's noted. I cannot kill those things any faster with a regular heavy attack. It would have to be a two-handed heavy attack, which feels like a very specific kind of ill-advised. Weird. I remembered that it was rude, I just wasn't expecting to actually bump into it just then. Been a minute, but I am once again just trying to get to the top of the tower. can one-shot them. Which makes sense, given how barely the other one couldn't one-shot them. Nice jump. Did not see it coming. Didn't see that coming either. Been a while since I've been on this one, but I remember the trick to it. Look down. It's fun and quirky and ironic and all that delightful stuff. But the trick is look down. And there's a bonfire here. So I can just hop right back out whenever I feel like it. I probably should have gotten my bigger fireball spell for this part. That lunge, he lunged at me and it's frightening. Yeah, I don't have to deal with him from here. He just looks kind of disappointed that this is his life. Which, you know, kind of a two-way street. This is also what I'm doing. This thing actually does some fairly respectable damage now. Alright. You still exist, right? Good, what's up?
Oh yes, it's you. What is it? Still something you need, eh? Anything at all?
Yeah, I'd like to purchase item. Yeah, he sells large titanite, which I do need a bunch of. And I can afford 2, alright. He also sells weapons and arrows. Huh. Okay, those are also nifty, and I'd forgotten he had those.
Nothing at all? Fine then. Rush in like a naked babe and be skinned alive.
Don't need that sass from you. I already bought something. Fireball back out for Great Fireball, and hope we can one-shot Big Scary. Because that would be most convenient. Cannot. He's worth 700, which is not insignificant. But you know, given that we need 4,000 for a single piece of large titanite, it's not great. Then there's this guy who is worth a couple thousand, I think. Do I have a different bolt that's more powerful? Not substantially. But shooting him in the face is substantially more powerful, so I will do that. $3,000. Oh, and he dropped some item. Great. Oh, here, I'll cash in here before I do something rash.
Anything you want?
Purchase item. Large titanite. Yeah.
Nothing at all? Fine then.
I bought something. Alright. Time for the PK roll, leap of death. Yeet. He did not PK roll. Titanite chunk. Yay. Alright, let's see if I can make this jump. Alright, that would imply no, but I refuse to accept implication. Alright, yeah, no, I cannot. So, bonsai. Oh, the upside, I suppose, is that if I die at this part, I get sent right back to where I'm trying to go, rather than away from there. Alright. Alright. And now, since I'm here, I can rest at the bonfire. Alright, here's my crazy idea for how to kill this guy instantly. I'm going to hit him with a great fireball and then shoot him immediately. Gunslinger. Yeah, that's neat. I get the fireball has a big charge up, whereas the crossbow has a big cool down. So, opening with the crossbow would be insane because then I'd have to wait till I reload it, and then I'd have to try and use the fireball. I'm talking about silly things that are easily observed. Did you drop another titanite chunk? No good. Oop, no way. It's fun thinking about it. Strictly speaking, I don't exactly remember what I needed to level up my armor. Can I? Can check right here. Titanite shards. Large titanite shards. Cool. But for the one I want to wear, I need large Titanite shards. And then Titanite slab. So yeah, this is perfectly manageable, I mean. Okay, and then it goes to Titanite chunk at +6, which is a little different. Alright. Just need to kill that dude one more time, because that'll get me up to 8,000, which means I could buy the last two. Wait, I can shoot him from here, can't I? Not for very much damage. I'm not even gonna bother with Big Scary because I don't have to. He only drops 700 money. If he drops a Titanite chunk, and that's the thing that's really fun. I'm probably gonna have to farm this guy a lot because he drops Titanite chunks, which are the other thing I need to upgrade my armor.
What is it?
I would like to purchase item. And then that's another thing, is if I'm farming him a whole bunch, I would only need to kill him 5 times for each of these, which seem like they could be quite useful, so I'll do that.
Go along, try and make something of yourself. But nothing will come of it, unless you play.
No one calls you the chosen one. Whoa! No one calls you the chosen one, and then I immediately fall off a roof. Hello. Alright, that's where I just popped up from. Yeah. And mental associations are really powerful. I've just got this area makes me think of Starship Troopers now. And Halo. is stuff that came up last time I was grinding here. And I'm trying to think of something to talk about. I just don't have anything popping into my head. Head empty, no thoughts, only grind. That does remind me of something I wanted to do. Let me just... get back to the bonfire and pick something up real quick. It had something written on it. Oh well. There. Cannot see anymore, but it's worth it for the bit. That no one will get. Whether that's because it's too obscure or because you just can't see the thing. I'll just... yeah, that's visible, right? I'm gonna assume that's visible. And it's only lightly obscuring my vision now. And if anyone gets it, I'm not gonna say I'm super impressed or anything, because it's not especially deep. I just think it's fun. You get like, I don't know, you get 5 internet points if you get it. To watch and see if he drops what I'm wanting him to drop. I just thought that's why I'm still killing him on loop. I can probably get this one up to 9. Let me see, comparison. Wait a minute. Oh, no, that's telling me what the upgrade would do. Let me get the comparison on, where is it? There it is. Yes, it is worse at everything. Where's my current score? It's in the 40s, and that's in the mid-upper 30s. Okay. So this does feel like it's in the realm of possibility. Especially since I'm not actually that close to max level. No, I'm totally just going. And that brings it up to, yeah, entering kind of similar realms. Some of it will enter the 40s there, but still not be quite as good. Yeah. Oh. The buttons. It's not the button's fault, it's my fault. I'm dumb. I just press B when I want to back out of that style of display, but I should press X to switch back to what it was before. Because this is technically the same menu. Anyway, so let's upgrade that. Upgrade again. And as I expected, but didn't technically say, so can't say predicted, it took exactly the amount of Titanite chunks that I had to get it to level 9. So Titanite slabs are going to be really important here soon. But now I can check if this is better than what I have on. In a lot of ways it is. By not much. 44 to 45, but it's also lighter, so hey, look at that. I'm starting to look different. I've looked the same for a solid portion of the playthrough. I'm starting to look different. I just remembered the way back to the Demon Wastes was through Blighttown, which is through Valley of Drakes, which is through the ruins of New Londo. What a strange thing to forget. Hello, welcome to the stream. It tells me someone has started watching. I managed to get, I know you haven't asked, but I'm just gonna give a brief catch-up. I am trying to upgrade the equipment I started with to be better than the equipment I've been using the whole time, because the equipment I've been using the whole time is unupgradable, but it's been quite good, so I forgot to try upgrading my equipment. And last stream I decided to just work on getting my armor upgraded, so that's what I'm doing this time, and I managed to get one piece of armor upgraded to better than the armor I've been wearing. Slightly. It's slightly better. There are two things I need at this point. Titanite chunks, which I found that this guy can rarely drop. By that I mean he has dropped 1 so far today. And ow! Titanite slabs, which I do not know how to get, and I do not have any of. But those will probably come up later. And since I'm doing a blind run, I can't look up how to get them. But I decided I should probably put some focus into upgrading my armor when I realized that the piece of the Pyromancer armor that I had that was the most upgraded was better than the equivalent piece in the set that I'd been using, being the bracers on your arms. I think they call it like a manchette or something. So yeah, not much story progression going to be happening in this stream. By not much, I mean probably actually none. Just... oh! I just remembered a thing that is... I should really be wearing that. Because that is a ring. It's like the Serpent of Greed or something. And what it does is it makes it so that guys drop things more often. And I am not killing this guy for the money, but for his drop. That is rare. I also put a piece of paper on my forehead, but I forgot about that. And if I assume that the, which this is a bold assumption, but if I assume that the snake ring increases my odds of getting the Titanite chunk by like ×2 or something, just double the odds, it's still not good odds. From my experience, that probably only bumps it up to like 1 in 15. Ideally. I actually don't have very good numbers to work with because I haven't killed this guy thousands of times or anything. That was a very rough guesstimate based on very little information. The information being that I had 4 Titanite chunks and I've probably only killed this guy, you know, like 100 times. Alright, I keep doing something that's messing with my sound. And he didn't drop anything. Alright. head is kind of hurting. I'm gonna toss this now. God, this isn't sitting right on my head. Alright. Probably nothing, because I can't think of anything. I'll just shift where exactly it's resting on my head. I can feel which part of it is hurting as well. It's the part where the strap actually has a fastener. It's like it gets wider there, so it's pressing into my skull just a little bit more. It's a pressure point, if you will. Yeah, so the grinding stuff, if I am able to get 4 Titanite chunks, which is substantial. Ow. That's being as rude to me as I'm being to this guy. No dice. Oh, but I've got 20,000 soul, which should be more than enough for one of the fancy rings that, whoa, this guy sells.
Still, anything you want? What?
Purchase item. I would like the thunderstorm pledge ring. I'll take one just for laughs.
Go along, try and make something of yourself.
And it's not full this time. I fell that time. Alright. Hey, Baldy. Alright, okay. I was gonna ask why can't I walk on? There we go. Oh. This is a setting on the YouTube live stream studio thing that's you can have your chat filter out potential spam and stuff. So you can have it just show you everything in the live chat or only the top chat. And one time, it decided that everything was spam, so it wasn't showing me any of the messages. So from that point onward, one of the things I tried to put in the checklist of is the stream ready and set up alongside like am I muted, which due to the fact that it reacts whenever I make noise, I don't think I'm muted. But alongside checks like that, I'll make sure it's set to live chat and not top chat, because if it's set to top chat, sometimes it just doesn't show me the chat at all. And that's not ideal. I wonder what this guy's drop rate is. I don't know what this enemy type is called. So, but so I can't address him properly. But he's some kind of giant with boulders at Sun Scorchers. But this guy, I wonder what the drop rate is for Titanite chunks from him. Okay, I figured out what the left trigger does. It switches ammo types. That's something I've been wondering about for too long, and I only just figured it out. Because I remembered having dismissed left trigger is mostly useless, but I didn't remember why, so I decided to press it to see what it did. It switches ammo types. Which makes sense that I wouldn't have figured that out before, because usually I only had one ammo type equipped, so it wouldn't do anything. It would just swing his thing behind his back. gonna kill this guy again just because he drops 700 soul, and once I get to 15,000 I'll be able to buy the other ring. The guy I've been killing drops 3,000, so now that I'm at 12,000 something, if I kill him again, then I'll be at 15,000. I like being good enough at aiming that I can get away with being kind of picky about where I want to aim. When I first discovered this trickery, best I could hope for on this guy was hitting him at all. But I have ascended to hit him in the face. Which, you know, it also makes a noticeable difference to the damage. 24 is not insignificant. I think that's the kind of damage I would have been doing just in general when I first started this area, honestly. I would like to purchase your finest spell stone plate ring. Yay.
Go along, try and make something of yourself.
Yes, I will. And not just in silly video game world. I will become famous within my friend group as a guy who played a video game once. That is a thing that no one has ever done before. Played a video game. It's funny. First guy to ever play a video game was one, probably the same guy that made said game, and two, maybe didn't realize how big of a deal it was. Those both feel highly probable to me. No shaggy. I can't recall where I got the serpent greed ring thing from. Because if I could remember where I got the ring of greed, then I would definitely be considering wearing two of them right now. Yeah, I'll just shoot at him. Okay. I missed. What? Okay, that's pretty close. It's off by 7. But it should save me a hair of time anyway, so. This is weird, but I think I actually kind of prefer the way that the pyromancy robes look with the mask than the spooky dark robes I've been wearing. It says gold hemmed, but that wouldn't be super noticeable. That means they just stitched it together with gold. And also, the skirt does not look hemmed to me. It just looks tattered and frayed. Which is not to say that you can't get those if it's hemmed, but it'll be a bit harder for that to fray if it's been hemmed. That's why you hem stuff like that. In case you're wondering what hemming something is, fabric typically, I've got some right around here somewhere. I'll grab it once I've cut this guy. Dropped what I need. Doesn't look like it. Alright. So hemming is normally normally fabric looks all messy and frayed like this on the end. That's really not ideal, and the downside to that is that it falls apart really easily. So to prevent that, and see, I just broke it. So to prevent that, people hem it, which is, well, we get that on stuff like your sleeves all the time, where they just take the fabric, they fold it in on itself, and stitch it like that. So instead of having the actual edge of the fabric exposed, they have the middle of the fabric exposed as though it were the edge, which is a lot more secure. And oftentimes they'll fold it twice, so the edge of the fabric isn't visible at all, even if you look for it. Which is nifty. But all that to say, I don't see much hemming on this skirt thing. Maybe a little on the middle part. But yeah, I feel like the gold bits that it's advertising are long gone. So we got that going for us. I just out of habit walked back up here. So yeah. I'm running out of things to say, and I've only been going for an hour and 13 minutes. So, yeah. Didn't drop anything. Fun. By the time I've gotten all the titanite I want from this guy, which is feeling fairly improbable at this point. By the time I've gotten all the titanite I want from this guy, I feel like I will have so much money I could buy everything in the game. Double check to make sure it didn't drop anything. Nothing looks dropped. Moving on. I wonder if the money counter in this game has an integer limit. It would be a really dumb idea to try and find out, but it's a question that just popped into my head. I just had a really funny idea. Since I'm getting filthy rich anyway, I could just upgrade my weapons as well. I think my axe is already maxed out, but I have another axe and another axe. I have several weapons. You know, all things considered, 25,000 is not terribly much. Oh man, I just thought to do some math. I'm assuming this is sustainable, because 3,000 is quite a bit, but I'm gonna figure about how much it usually takes to kill them. Seven, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. So if I just assume around 20 shots per kill, which I know that one was 18, but if I assume around 20 per kill, and these are the wood bolts, which I think only cost 10, and that's a meager 200 cost for 3,000 benefit, so that would be around 2,800 benefit per kill. So yeah, that's beyond sustainable. It's outright affordable. It's sustainable doesn't even need profit. You just need to be making as much on each kill as it would cost. Now, it wouldn't be a very good source of revenue that way, but it would be sustainable. Which I feel like that's kind of a pitfall that a lot of corporations fall into these days, is they're desperate to grow, but growth isn't sustainable. If something continuously gets bigger, then it's going to collapse at some point. I'm sure a little growth can be beneficial, but like, take what I'm doing here. Yes, I am getting more money out of it than I'm putting into it, but at the cost of I'm killing this dude over and over again. If this were a little bit more real, then I couldn't kill this dude over and over again. We'd have some little problems. Oh, like, here's something. I gotta fix my equipment regularly. So we've got, this is all kinda really beat up. Oh wait, no, that wasn't everything. Yeah, that's fine. That's relatively fine. That's pretty beat up, and that's fine. Yeah, I got costs of repair equipment, costs of ammo. These are issues that would come up, and this would be a real problem if the giant wasn't an infinite resource. But since he is an infinite resource, this is sustainable. But if he was slightly less infinite, suddenly what I'm doing now would become a really bad business model. So, infinite growth only works with infinite fuel. There's the fun thing is, in addition to the 200 so it would cost in ammunition, this is another part of the equation, it costs 4 in equipment maintenance, which is still perfectly sustainable. Wow, I'm that boring you left. Yeah. What I've got going on here is a sustainable business practice, but solely because there is infinite of that guy, which is my source of growth. And if I were being a large business, that would be problematic, because, well, there's not infinite money. So if I want my business to keep growing, it would need to be, well, the amount of money would keep growing, and that's not good. And there's a certain point, when you have all of the money, that's not a good thing. That is a distinctly bad thing. You might be filthy rich, but no one else has any money, so they stop caring about how rich you are. I don't even know how you would get all the money. There are some people who just would not be willing to part with it on that level. And I'm only able to talk very light, surface level business economics stuff, because I'm not super educated in the field. But that's something to be aware of. If you ever find yourself in charge of a giant, mega corporation thing, instead of looking at record growth, just try sustainability. Because that's the thing. If you are bleeding money from your business practices, that's not sustainable. You are losing money, you are shrinking. If you are experiencing new record growth each year, the company just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger, that's also not sustainable. If you just keep the company around the same size, it's doing the same thing every year, you're not failing, you're not growing, you're sustainable. And once you've got it really stable like that, you can look at sustainability in other ways. Because there are some business practices that are far too common that are just not sustainable long term. Like, if you treat your employees as though they're disposable, then it benefits them most to act like they're disposable and leave. And once everyone has decided that it's not worth it to work for you anymore, well, look at that. Not sustainable long term. Also, with talking about unsustainable growth, there's a very common thing in the stock market that is growth stocks, where the whole idea is that you buy the stock, the company gets more valuable, and then you sell the stock. And that is kind of unstable and really bad idea. Like, the South Sea bubble was a really interesting historical phenomenon that we should have taken notes on, but apparently we didn't, because we did it again with GameStop, except that GameStop probably actually did literally anything while that was happening. South Sea Trading Company, I think it was called, did not make a single dime while it was the most valuable company in the world. It was just super heavily marketed stocks. And it collapsed. It was a bubble. It collapsed. GameStop had a similar thing happen here pretty recently. By pretty recently, I mean in the last 100 years. It was a lot sooner than 100 years ago, but the GameStop stock did a similar thing where it got ridiculously valuable purely because everyone was buying it, and then, you know, when people cash in, sell their stock, actually become filthy rich, because you're not filthy rich for having $1 billion GameStop stock. You're filthy rich for selling $1 billion GameStop stock. So if you buy a GameStop stock for $1 billion, you probably made the worst business decision of your career, because that means you just spent a lot of money on something that is about to become worthless. Yeah, growth stock, they're very common in modern stock market, and they require that unsustainable growth in order for the stockholders that, you know, the company has a responsibility to. In order for the stockholders to get their benefit, the company needs to become more valuable, which is not ideal. And there's another kind of stock, I think it was called dividend stock, I might have to look that up. But the rough idea behind that is you own a tiny piece of the company. And since you own a tiny piece of the company, you get a tiny piece of the money that the company earns every so often. I don't know how often. I'll just say every year. So if you were to, every year or so, get, I'm going to take an absurdly large number and say you own 1% of the company. Then, you know how the like the CEO of the company gets all the money for no reason? Well, if you're using this kind of stock, then you get like 1% of that unreasonable amount of money. Which, you know, if it's, I'm going to say a really tiny company. If it's a really tiny company that makes $100,000 a year, then that means that you would make $1,000 a year just from owning a piece of the company. And then you want the company to be successful long term, not just, ooh, everyone's buying stock in the company right now, so I am going to sell my stock in the company and make a quick buck. Because that doesn't actually want the company to be successful. That wants the company to be looking very successful for a moment. Whereas the dividend stock, you want that company to be around forever. You make 1% of that company's income every year. You want that company to be making $1 trillion a year, because then you'll be getting I can't think off the top of my head what hundreds of a trillion is. That'd be what, a billion? No, that'd be 10 billion. You'd be getting $10 billion a year. Why am I talking about stock market? This is a really weird stream. I am here playing Dark Souls. I am out of ammo. Alright. That's a little unfortunate. I am here playing Dark Souls, shooting a guy ad nauseum with a crossbow, talking about the stock market. This is very strange. I'm just killing the same guy over and over again, hoping he drops something. Actually, hoping he drops something specific, but he's not been dropping anything. So I'm gonna head to the bonfire. I'm going to warp to Firelink Shrine. Because from there, I can pretty easily walk to Undeadburg and pick up all sorts of nifty trinkets, like ammo. That's the big one, really. I need to restock on ammo. Picking up some Wayward Bones. Were they Homeward Bones? The Bone of Teleport. Teleportation Femur. Anyway, pick up some of those. Oh, nice deflection. Yeah, pick up some teleporters. And then some ammo. And who knows what other trinkets I might find useful. You talk too much. Homeward Bone. Yeah, I'll pick up 2 of those. Transient Curse is a little pricey. Alright. Now, skedaddle skedoodle. Back to other crazy guy. We're all crazy. I'm the craziest. Yeah. Mr. Crazy, which is me, will fight his way through all the other crazy people, which is these guys, to get to the crazy person. Man, I'm not good at this game. I'm really bad at this game, wow. Now witness me be an actual wizard. Yeah, this isn't wizarding, this is just pyromancy. I'm not even being very good at it. You die too. It's the rules. Hello.
Oh, where I get that?
I have been not next to you. I am here for my regular arrow restock. Not arrow, bolt restock. So, get some standard bolts, get one heavy bolt, and get a whole lot of wood bolts. And you see, you have barely made a dent in my funds. Cool.
Oh.
Gorilla. Yeah. I'm gonna head back to Andre and see if there's anything else he wants to upgrade for me. Yeah. That dude. He's versus this game and me. All these guys are dropping stuff. How do you like fire? Oh. Apparently he actually does kinda like fire. You want some? Alright, apparently yes. Man, I'm not... I should give up on parrying. I'm so bad at it. Yeah, I forgot to check. Did the pyromancer here wander off? He did. Ho ho. Can I bother you? No, I cannot. You are very asleep. Yeah, head up here to where blacksmith is. Oh, there's some ring mail on this. See, under the shawl. Video. Ow. Alright. Do not rest at this fire.
Well, you need...
Let's see. Does it take large titanite shards? Which does seem to just be the high physical defense stuff. Chunks and slabs. He only sells shards. Okay, what is this thing? It's a shield, okay. This is kite shield.
I'll be seeing you then. Be careful out there.
Huh. I don't know how to use miracles. I have a lot of stuff. Got a bunch of these fun stone plate rings. Oh, that just reminded me. I just remembered another guy who sold rings and stuff near here. I just need to not die on my way there. It was the guy up on top of that thing where the bell gargoyles were defending way back in, like, I want to say episode 2, honestly. I don't recall precisely when it was. I just remember that it was quite long ago. Man, it's been like a year since then. Alright. This is the part where it gets real nasty. this room is full of these fellows. Oh boy. Come on, line up one at a time. I don't want to fight you all at once. Who's next? That is the only kind of fight you all at once that I will settle for. Man. It's been a while. I have not been here in a very long time. Can you believe I've been playing this game for more than a year and I haven't beaten it yet? I saw the gargoyle and I had a momentary panic. Hello.
Greetings. Well, I did not expect to find you hollow.
Am I hollow? Virgin Stone. Indictment. Karmic Justice. Talisman. Yeah, that's well within the realm of things I can afford, so. Yep. Sure, why not? Huh. What does this do? Oh, cool. That,
Thou art welcome any time. It is only human to commit a sin.
nice. So according to the game, everything I have done is fine. And I disagree. The game is wrong. Or at least that guy is wrong. I took a wrong turn, and now that guy is menacingly after me. Woof. He just ate that. Oh, and that too. Wow. This guy's good. But he is dead, unfortunately. Rapier. Well, I only have one fancy magic spell left. Oh dear. I have the strange suspicion that that was someone I could have saved from being in that condition had I gotten here sooner. Where am I? What? That is a tiny... That's just a jail cell. That's just a tiny box that doesn't lead anywhere. Why does this exist? Is that yet another place I could find Big Hat Logan? That's weird. Anyway, that shopping trip was a brief and interesting detour from the very dull and monotonous task I set before myself for this episode. Back to killing this guy over and over again to hope he drops titanium. I know they call it titanite, but I don't care. Titanium is easier for me to pronounce. So how you been? I've been doing this for, 2 hours now. Cool. Let me do some head math real quick. I'm going to divide by 1,000. It would just be 1,000. Which then divided by 3 would be 333.3 repeating. So that might be an unreasonably large number. So I'll keep going until one of three things happens. I hit the maximum time I've set for one of these streams of 4 hours. I can't go above that. That is the time limit. The money limit of I get absurdly rich, and I need to figure out how much rich is absurdly rich. I know 1 million is way too much. Or 3, I get all the titanite chunks I'm hoping for, which I'm going to shift the goalpost on that the further in I get. Is if I get 1 and I have almost reached the 4-hour mark, that's all I'm getting is the 1. If I get all 4 within the next half hour, sweet. I say all 4, it would actually be 8, because I have 2 more pieces of gear to level up. But if but for every 15 minutes after that, I'm just gonna reduce the amount I'm hoping for by 2. So I guess there's, by the 2-hour 15 mark, if I've got all 8, sweet. There's no chance I'm getting 8 in the next 15 minutes. If in the next half hour I get 6, awesome. If in the next 45 minutes I get 4, grand. If in the next hour I get 2, neato. But then everything after that point, I'm just hoping to get 1. Which honestly, I don't think even getting 1 is a realistic hope at this point. I've already gotten 1 this stream. So, probably about to get some of the longest streams with the least happening outside of just me talking. So I guess if you have any specific things you want me to talk about, sure, let me know. Stream chat or in the comments or whatever. Also, this is a random thing to bring up at the middle point of a very long stream, so I'll probably have to mention it at some point. But I remember someone talking about advice for streaming, which that is technically what I'm doing at this very moment. I say technically. I just don't think of myself as a streamer. This is what I do when I don't have edited videos put together already. I don't think of streaming as the primary thing. That's the uploaded videos are the primary thing. I just do a lot more streams because, ironically, it's a lot easier to sit down for 4 hours in an uncomfortable mask playing a video game and talking to a microphone than it is to do the same thing, but then afterwards, without the mask though, because I don't record my face, because this is mostly just so you know that it is actually, in fact, me creating original footage and not just stealing something I saw and talking over it. But it's easier to do the whole streaming thing than it is to do basically the exact same thing, but then afterwards cut it down to anywhere from half to a quarter its original length. And that's the fun thing about these streams, is they're largely uneventful enough that they would probably get cut down to a tiny fraction of their original length. And yeah, I've got the controller on camera, so you can see me pressing the button. Because it occurs to me it would be similarly easy to just do exactly what I described doing, except with face plastered on the whole thing. But if I'm occasionally showing the controller, that's a little harder to fake. That said, I probably picked the most easily faked moment to demonstrate it. Probably the most reassuring part of the whole thing that this is in fact my footage is that I'm generally pretty careful to, at the beginning, show me selecting the save that I'm loading into. Because that way you get to see that it has my name on it. And also how much playtime I've had, so you know I didn't go and play for 48 hours off camera. That is another thing. I am putting all of me playing the game on camera. Which I will not be doing on my second playthrough. On my second playthrough, it is going to be one of those super edited video versions. Where I'll be able to say, oh yeah, I did some grinding off screen, and it will just be, you know, I cut out all of this stream. Just everything I'm doing right now would not go into the video. Just be a, you know, the stereotype of Minecraft YouTubers. So I did some mining off camera. I would do that. I would do exactly that. Just you blink and it's like, oh yeah, and while you weren't looking, between camera cuts, I did a little bit of grinding. And now I'm like, I don't know what max level is in this game. I've heard it's very high and realistically unattainable. Leveling up systems. The one thing I don't actually super care about spoilers for how it works, because it is the system that I am sworn to not use. So I'm actually very curious how it works, because it's the one I can't figure out how it works just by messing around with it. So, but I've heard max level technically exists, but it is very high and unattainable, so I wouldn't be, oh, I'm max level now. It's just like, yeah, you know how last time you saw me I was level 1? Well, I did a little bit of work off screen, and whoops, look at that. I'm level 700. Which is a very large, exaggerated number. I am just making up numbers. But I think it'd be very funny to do something like that, where it's just, oh yeah, while you weren't looking, I became the most powerful being in existence. Just do the Anakin thing every time the camera cuts. I just have the, my powers have doubled since the last time we met count. Which in this takes the form of, I upgraded my armor, I upgraded my pyromancy, I upgraded my weapons. You can still probably kill me in 2 hits. But my powers have doubled. I'm almost at 60,000, so... But I haven't gotten what I want yet, which is not... It's not always about the money, Spider-Man. Yeah. Which, I mean, honestly, what's the point of having money if you're not going to spend it on something dumb? Honestly, this is a silly thing of me, but if I had an unlimited supply of money, probably the first thing I would do with it is buy a computer. Just a really good computer. And I'm not talking, you know, NVIDIA RTX, I don't know what they're on now, like 50,000 or something. It probably means something very specific, but last time I was looking into it, it was the 3090 was the best of the best, and they've released something since then that I've heard is not that much better, but it's newer, so naturally everyone's out to buy that, so the 3090 isn't as expensive anymore, and by saying this, I have doomed myself to shopping for ridiculously overpriced graphics cards again. But I'm not talking like normal, that level of ridiculously powerful computer. I'm talking like, let's research super experimental ways of, can you network like a battery of computers? And I mean that by like the actual meaning of the word battery, which is a bunch of things put together, not the power cell. can you make like a battery of computers designed to work together and just have the most powerful computer in the world that's the size of like a refrigerator? So something like that is probably the first thing I'd do if I had an unlimited supply of money. Second thing I'd do, I don't know. There are a lot of things lined up for second place. There's, I think copyright law is too long, so I don't know. I don't know how money would fix that, honestly. That's more of an influence thing than a money thing. I would want to design cars that aren't stupid because I think cars are stupid and I don't like them. Let me think, what else? A phone. I would want to design a phone that is like, really old phones used to have this fun thing. There's light shining into my mask from behind me. It threw me off for a second. Really old phones used to be like this giant brick that you would have in your car or like in a bag. You couldn't put them in your pocket, they were too giant. I want to make a phone like that, but actually fill it with modern hardware, so you know you can do ridiculousness with it. It's got a giant battery. This thing will actually last a couple hours. It's got, you know, a big beefy processor that can actually run Minecraft at minimum graphics settings. There's all sorts of, let's over-engineer the living daylights out of this thing. And if somehow one of the two people that sees this, it's usually more than two people, it's closer to like 6 or so on average, I think. But if one of the like half dozen people that ever sees this goes, oh, that's a really good idea, I like that idea, even though I don't know that anyone would agree that that's a good idea. But if anyone else thinks that's a good idea, feel free to use it. I won't sue you, I just want the thing to exist. And not be ridiculously overpriced. That's another thing. We're really good at making things that's like, this costs 500 times what it costs to produce and manufacture it. I don't like some companies. They're very... And here's the crazy thing. And I can't say this about stuff like phones, because this isn't the case with stuff like phones. But some things I look at and they're like, oh yeah, it's this expensive, I must charge you this much. I look at it and I go, no, that is not worth that much. And I know it's not worth that much because I've made one of those. Usually that's on like random 3D printed stuff. Because the trick there is it's like they're including the print time as part of the cost of labor. Which, I'll admit, it does take time to print stuff. Why can I not walk where I want to walk? Okay. It does take time to print stuff, but that is totally passive time. You can be doing something else while that happens. And I guess I do have to admit this one little thing about that. 3D printers are expensive. They're expensive on the level of, if there's someone I know that wants to 3D print stuff, I am perfectly willing to help with that. You just send me the files, I print it, I send you the thing. That's like part of bro code is the guy who has the printer can print things for the guy who doesn't. Except it's, you know, a 3D printer, and still be polite. That's actually a funny thing. There was a 3D printer in the room when I was playing Castle Crashers for that first video that went up last week. And it was really intrusive, so I turned on like a noise canceling thing, and I was surprised. You cannot hear that thing like at all. You have to, it's only slightly audible in specific clips, and I am certain I wouldn't be able to point them out just watching the video. I would need the editing folder open in order to identify them. But that's why my audio quality was so bad in that video. But you couldn't tell mine was bad because it was worse audio quality in that video than my voice being slightly messed up. That was also the first video I put subtitles on, which is fun. Fun fact, subtitles are really hard to put into your videos. If you know people who are putting subtitles just integrated into their videos, show them appreciation. That stuff is hard. Okay, I say that stuff is hard. It's not, like, difficult to achieve or difficult to execute. It just, or at least in my experience, it just triples the amount of time it takes to produce the video. Like, it was not a fast task to begin with, but that was, like, that one video, I think, was it was a single week of the most intense just edit this I have ever done, I think. Because I remember the first video I did, I don't remember how long exactly it took, but I did that all in one day. I recorded it, I edited it, and I uploaded it all in one day. It was not very good. I did not know what I was doing. I was wearing a different mask at the time. I actually still have that mask right here. Here, give me a sec. I'm gonna get this lined up and then I'll show you. But it's fun. That was the one and only appearance of the first mask. This thing showed up in one video. I spent like 2 weeks making this thing. It showed up in one video and then I never used it again because I just didn't have a camera. At first, it was because I didn't have a camera that was good enough that I wanted to use it. And then after that, I don't remember what the reasons were. It was just stuff happened, and then by the time I was back to showing my face, I had done a major rebrand because that was a different thing. And it's funny, the one you'd seen me wear that was this beanie with just like a homemade COVID mask type setup. That was like the 6th design. It's really fun. So there was the first one, which I just showed you, which the process for making that was I first made a paper mache of my face, which I then used something that lays down melted plastic like a 3D printer, but it's more of a pen. I used one of those to make a plastic shell on the paper mache thing with holes in it, with a hole in it for the eyes. I took that and then I built the whole big kind of robot face looking thing on top of it. And it's a bit messy, but that was the process I used for that. And then I had like 4 different. They all got scrapped. None of them worked. I don't know how I had the patience to pull off that first one, because I did not have the patience to do it ever again. I tried several times, and I apparently not a very patient person when it comes to certain things. Yeah. I had one that was like, I bought a secondhand airsoft mask thing. I tried to make so many of those, and I never used any of them. Most of them never finished, and the fun thing was I had a moment where I went and significantly changed my design philosophy, because one of the major things I'd been doing the whole time that was bothering me was, for seeing, I need to have a hole in the mask. And the thing is, with a hole, you can see both ways. So, in order to be able to see entirely, I was having the holes very large, because the mask was suspended, well, much like this one, a ways away from my face. And in case you're wondering, yes, this mask does restrict my field of view a little bit. But this had the problem of, you could see like a third of my entire face, and I could see okay, and I had this giant bobblehead thing on. And then at some point I went, like, if you look at like medieval armor, you can't see their face through that. What do they do differently? Well, a couple things. One, they seem to have accepted that they just wouldn't be able to see entirely. And 2, they have really tiny slits right next to their face. Especially if you look like at the bucket great helm thing. It's a couple of slits right up next to your eyes. And so that got me thinking, well, you could have a giant hole a ways away from your face, or you could have a teeny tiny hole right up next to your face. This line of thought actually didn't end up going anywhere significant, because the 2 ideas I had were just make like a tiny slit eye mask thing, or the other idea that was much closer to what I ended up doing was get one of those like World War I aviator leather cap things and goggles, and just put like a scarf or something over my mouth. So I was going through all this effort trying to find one of those that was like actually good, because I don't like faux leather very much, and the fabric, or okay. They're so. I was looking a bunch, and I wasn't finding anything that I was super liking. Especially since, for the most part, they were giving cosplay goggles, not real functional goggles. Which, that's a weird thing to complain about, given that I am essentially using this for cosplay. But if I was going to be having aviator goggles, I wanted them to work. And then, at some point in this search, I looked up something like aviator hat with goggles, and it showed me the most glorious thing. It was nothing at all like anything I had designed. It was nothing at all like anything I had looked for, but it was amazing. It was this hat. It was a beanie with built-in goggles. That's a delightful thing. They're like $15 on Amazon. Anyone can get their hands on these things. They're really easy to get. So yeah, I just bought it and then made a bottom half of the mask out of fabric, and that was what I was using first time I started streaming this game. And that was just so easy. It made me think of Occam's razor, which is the best solution to a problem is often the simplest one. Which, in this case, the simple, easy solution that was better than most of what I'd been working up was just to buy a mask. I mean, really, I'd been trying to make this cool, solid, like, plastic helm, like, great helm thing for so long, and it wasn't working very well. It was a whole mess, and then at the end of the day, I got a solution that I liked so much more, that was so much easier, and probably not as expensive, of just buying a beanie. And then the like bird beak thing I added for, it was my late October stream. And I was like, okay, I don't like Halloween, I don't support whatever its whole thing is. Spookiness is okay, but people often take spookiness too far and go into, you know, actual atrocities. But I do kind of approve of the idea of just being able to dress up in silly costumes. That's something I will accept an excuse to do that anytime. I am not a good costume maker guy, but I will always accept an excuse to do a costume. Yeah, that's... I went and I wanted to do a costume for late October. It wasn't on Halloween. It might have actually been on the day of Halloween, now that I think about it. I'd have to check. But I wanted to do a funny something. So I went, okay, I'll do a cosplay thing. I'll just change the bottom half of the mask to be something else. And I think I had 3 ideas. One would actually change the entire mask, but be super easy to do. So the 3 ideas were, one was I could do like a ghost thing where I just drape like a white cloth over my head and put holes for the goggle lenses and like stitch it there, and then just wear a green shirt so it looks like I'm a ghost floating around. I decided against that one because there are some significant negative historical connotations tied to people putting white cloths over their head and poking eye holes in it. So that narrowed it down to two main ideas of I could do like the bird beak plague mask look, or the other idea was make like a Cthulhu octopus face like plush mask thing. And ultimately it came down to time. I really wanted to do the octopus face thing, but or like, you know, Davy Jones' beard in Pirates of the Caribbean. Something like that, with all the tentacles and stuff. And I could do that. I am confident I could do that still. But I just didn't have the time to do it because I procrastinated too long. So I kind of forced myself into making the beak one last minute. I put together like 2 or 3 different frames for it because I was rushing myself and not making it very good the first time. And then I wrapped fabric around the frame, and that took like 2 or 3 attempts once I had the right frame. And then the next morning, like I stayed up at night working on this thing, and then the next morning I streamed with it on. And it just turned out so well that I stuck with it. It stuck around. I remember, I think I put up a poll on the channel that was, hey, should I stick with this new mask, or should I go back to the old one? And the poll was like, yeah, stick with the new mask. And then after a while of using that, I was like, okay, it's very neat, and it did turn out very well, but there were little problems that I was starting to have with it, like, it looked like a nose, because it didn't actually cover my chin at all, the beak part. It was this big. So instead of, you know, making it bigger or anything at the time, I just put more fabric at the bottom. So if I turn to the side like this, instead of it being, oh yeah, the whole face goes down into, it was just a nose. It was just a long nose, like, I don't know, Pinocchio or Gru or something. Just, I was long, pointy nose man. I looked like a silly witch. Except I'm a guy, so I'd be a silly wizard. So I changed it to a big, real, as you can see, leather one with, like, it's subtle. I don't know if you can see it very well, but it has like a fire pattern on it. Yeah, I switched to that, made a video on making it. Showed it to someone who knows how to do seamstress stuff, who kind of grimaced at the opening bit where I showed how much leather I wasted. But that was largely for the sake of ease and time. Because here's the thing, if I have a giant slab of leather like that, I don't like all the tiny little scraps hanging off of it. Those are coming off one way or other. I will still save those scraps and maybe use them for something down the road, maybe not. Who knows? I don't yet. The time hasn't come for that. But yeah. So I just marked out what all was going to be there and cut out the whole entire thing. Then I, made the whole video. One thing, I tried using some kind of like dye dye, similar to what you use to tie-dye a shirt, because it was really cheap. and I was working on a tight budget, and leather mask that's already pretty expensive. So I decided, you know what, I'll kind of skimp out on the dye and get a cheap dye. That was a complete waste of time and money. That cheap dye, when it was still wet, the product, the leather did look black. When it dried, it was more of a purplish gray, which was not the color I was trying to turn the leather. So that was the thing. It was fun because I didn't just dye the entire mask and go, oh man, it didn't work. I dyed a small strip of leather to test if it would work, pulled it out, and determined that it would work before it fully dried. And then when it fully dried, I had already put the rest of the mask in the vats. So it was a bit late then, but I was like, oh dear, the dye did not dye the leather correctly. How do I fix this? So I fixed it the way you fix things like that, and did it how I should have the first time. I bought actual leather dye, which is much more expensive. Like, I think one of these was like $2 and the other was like $15. Which I'll admit, $15 isn't terribly expensive, but I was already bumping up against the budget with the $2 one. And I also still had to buy, like, finish, because I had run out of leather finish. Which is the stuff that makes it so that, splashing water on it doesn't ruin it. And, or I should say something more like splashing sugar water on it, I guess. I don't know. Makes it so you can rinse off messy stuff, and makes it so shiny and, I don't know, illustrious. It just finishes it, kind of like putting finish on a table finishes it. It's what makes it look complete. I had to buy that, I had to buy dye, and I think I went, like, ultimately, I doubled my budget. I went over budget by so much on that stuff. And when I'm talking about going over budget, I make it sound like, oh yeah, the company was giving me this much money. No, I'm talking about I only had so much money in my possession. So I was dipping into the funds of, savings, and actually it was just the future. I just had to earn more money than I had at the time to make the mask, which is always fun, where it's like, oh yeah, I have money set aside for this. I have an amount of money handy that I can spend on this, and you have to make more money for it. It was a whole thing. Thinking about it, this mask, only in material cost, is probably like $50. And then you can add on top of that I spent like 3 months, I think, making it. That it was 3 weeks, just 1 month. I don't remember. I think it was like a 2-month project around. I don't know. It was a very long project. It took a long time. So it's just this whole big mess But that's one life skill that I acquired on a whim. I randomly decided when I was a kid that I wanted. It's like I was looking through a catalog and saw a leather tooling kit and decided I want that. And so I said that I wanted that, and I ended up getting it for Christmas, and I learned how to use it, and now I can tool leather. At least a little bit. So yeah, I just decided completely on a whim that I wanted to do that, and I think that is one of the life skills I am a little bit more glad that I have. Because leather is really expensive, and if you have time but not money, knowing how to tool it yourself is really useful. Because that's actually the majority of the cost, is labor. That's actually another thing. I am looking at like practicing with the leather stuff more and selling leather goods. And there's some really simple things would be quite expensive. Like, I look at leather goods and I go, that's really expensive, there's no way that should cost that much. And then when I'm making something like that, I go, oh, I see the problem. It's the problem is that it takes like 8 hours to tool a wallet, which I don't know what minimum wage is. I'm gonna say something insultingly low, like $5. That's still $40 just in labor. And that's assuming they're charging minimum wage for this stuff, which is kind of shameful, because it's specialized work. Not everyone knows how to do this stuff. Only some people have invested the time and effort into getting the tools and learning how to use them. So it's probably not reasonable to expect every leather tooling person to work and sell their goods at minimum wage and not charge for material cost. Because that's another thing. From any research I've done and all my experience and stuff, just raw leather that isn't tooled is kind of expensive. Which makes sense. It's like every other part of the beast is pricey. But yeah, it's just luxury goods. They're not necessary. No one needs genuine leather products. I just decided that I won't settle for things like faux leather when I know real leather is a very real and viable option, because I learned how to work with real leather. It just means that usually I look at someone else's finished product and I go, oof, that is more than I can afford. And then I make it myself. Like, that's another thing with regards to this fancy plague mask thing. I did shop around to see if anyone was just selling nice, high quality leather plague masks, and what I found was either you could find like one made of craft foam for 20 bucks, or one made of real leather for like 150 bucks. The things are not cheap. I couldn't even find a pattern to make one out of leather. So I had to kind of design my own. I did start with someone else's pattern, but then I found, oh, this is not the right shape. So I kind of scrapped it, made my own. And didn't make copies, so this mask I know is one of a kind in several ways. I have several ways of knowing it's one of a kind. Because I made the shape of it to be tall enough to fit the shape of my head. I hand tooled it, I hand stitched it, which that's another thing. This row of stitching down the middle is a fun little cross stitch thing. Let me get closer so you can see it better. This is fun cross stitching. And I did that like 5 times. I had someone manning the camera for me, and man, the irritation was like, are you done re-recording that one tiny step of the process? It was kind of funny. Yeah, I had to do that like 5 times, and I pulled it really tight. It's really holding on to there. Also, the nose is actually a little bit crooked, and I shouldn't have said that because now you're going to start seeing it. But that's fine because my actual nose is crooked, so. But the nose on this thing is kind of crooked. And I actually didn't use the cross stitch for the whole thing, because on all the side bits and the under part, I just used the whip stitch because that one's really easy and uses about half as much cord, which that's another thing. Since I was in the mood of make it out of real leather, I got real leather cord to stitch it together with. And yeah, that also increased the material price. I went so over budget on this thing. I also went over time, because I meant to like I meant to have it finished, I remember, multiple weeks before I did. I just had a whim one day, like, oh, I'm gonna make a new mask and I'll have it ready by the next stream, and this did not happen. Yeah, the whole, plague mask visual theme, I guess I'm gonna call it, that happened by chance on a whim on short notice, and then I liked it, so I stuck with it and I committed to it. And I have almost 150,000 sold. And I've been going for 3 hours. And I still haven't gotten thing. I could upgrade this armor, which okay. Yeah, that'd actually be really easy to upgrade. But it's also the heavy armor. So I don't wanna chunk slabs. Okay. So let's see, this is better in almost every way, other than curse resist and weight. It's in the 20s generally, and this is in the 30s. So yeah, it would have to get up there. And I just won't get any titanite chunks. They're just not happening. I'm gonna head up top and see if that changes anything for some reason. Yeah. I'm gonna call 150,000 filthy rich, because I'm running out of my ability to keep this thing in a position where it is usable. Because that's the fun thing about this mask, is if you tighten the strap too much, it gives you a headache, which you'll probably find is the case with a lot of things clamping on your head. But if you loosen it, then it just wants to flop down on your head like this, which is less than ideal, because then I gotta sit like this to be able to kind of see a little bit. And it's just all around not the greatest. So yeah, I just shook my headband up out of the mess. I wear like a headband thing to give it better grip. It doesn't work very well. I'm gonna have to redo the interior of this thing at some point. But but I can't do that right now because that would require taking it off. So, and I'm on stream. So, I guess at the bonfire I could check real quick. Haze is the who's this store at? Oh, Drake sword. Neat. Dragon scales neat. You can upgrade the sword hilt. It's funny. Demon machete. Oh yeah, I remember. Takes. Oh yeah, I can just buy that. So yeah, I think I'll do that. It's just a little light fast. Little bit lighter, faster weapon, which has not been my style up to this point, but yeah. Couldn't hurt that much to just have it.
Still, any...
A bit of a decent armor. Yeah. Don't need that much. I'll just take like 5 should be plenty.
Go along, try and make something of yourself.
I remember there was nothing down here, but I'm gonna see what it was anyway. Because I'm just built stupid like that. Yeah, it's this fella. Cool. And yeah, that was the key that unlocked the cage that Logan was in. I just thought of another end condition because it seems to be approaching fairly rapidly. It's just I'm gonna run out of ammo. Because I don't have infinite ammo. Oh, wait. Reinforced weapon. Aha, raw hand axe. Raw weapon. Cool, what's that? Acquire best weapon through raw reinforcement. Sweet. Where do I get red titanite? Cool, now I kind of want to have it. It's not very good, actually. It's fast, I suppose, but And I don't know. No, fast is really all it's got going for it, yeah. Don't think I've got a way to enhance it beyond. Oh. Enhance it beyond where it's at. The achievements don't usually lie. That's also another weird thing. I get achievements in this game so infrequently. It feels weird and out of place when I do. You're just looking at me like, what do you want? should be any easier to aim on keyboard and mouse. Because you'd be able to point very precisely where you want to look with the mouse, and then just press W to point your character in exactly that direction. Also, I just found myself thinking, with this much money, I could probably buy, like, 10 Thunderbolts, or Lightning Bolts, I forget what they're called. I feel like it's starting to wind down a little bit in this stream. So, well, also I'm near the 150,000 that I declared was probably a ridiculous amount. It'd be funny if there's a single enemy in the game at some point that grants that much. It would be a boss fight if it was, but it'd be funny if there was a single enemy at some point in the game that granted that much. Yeah, I don't think the odds were as good as I guesstimated. They're probably much worse than 1 in 15. And it just is not going to give it to me. Okay. What in the world was that? The computer just made some kind of notification noise that I did not recognize. I want to say maybe it was Skype, which, if it was Skype, that's hilarious. I don't use that. Well, what I just said. Wait a second. I've reached the absurdly rich number. Alright, I'm gonna warp around. Let's go there. That fast travel is like the craziest thing in the game. Just because they give it to you so late, you don't expect it. Do you
Oh,
smell
hello.
anything?
Then let us, as promised.
Neat. I could absolutely afford both of these. But I've not been doing sorcery, so I don't think there'd be much benefit to it. Especially since I'm just too stupid to use a lot of this stuff.
Master Logan is at the archives. Thank the heavens. Finally, his wish has been granted. I suppose he has his head buried in those tomes. That's always what made Master Logan happiest. Ah, I can just imagine him now.
Not quite.
Goodbye then. Do stay safe.
It does occur to me that if... Oh, okay. I was like, hold on a minute. Isn't there supposed to be a guy standing here? No, he's standing here. I don't know what his deal is. Will you sell me stuff?
I am pleased to see you well. Is it something urgent?
Okay. So I'm going to see what happens because I know I can get renewable titanite, large titanite shard. So what do I get from this? I get regular. Okay.
The beings who possess these souls have outlived their usefulness, or have chosen the path of the wicked. As the primordial serpent, I implore you to defeat them and claim their souls. Let there be no guilt. Let there be no vacillation.
Cool.
The beings who possess these souls. I am. Is it?
Oh wait,
Farewell, chosen undead. I remain here and await thee.
let's see. Aha. So these were the things I got from the giant crystal golem guys outside of the crystal cave where Seath the Scaleless was. So yeah, I can probably afford to feed him one of those for experimentation.
Is it?
Green titanite shard, which I then feed. Okay.
Farewell, chosen.
Can I feed him regular titanite shards?
I am. It,
No. That is a good source of a lot of green titanite, though. Alright. I stopped dead in my tracks thinking I just ran up to a cliff, but then I looked down and said that I was fine. Oh, for kill. I really did not have to kill him that hard. First destination I'm heading to is the guy who sells stuff.
I get that.
Let's see. It just occurred to me why that would ever be useful. I'll just grab a few.
Oh, thank you. Very much.
And then the moss peddler. Take a couple of those. And then I'll immediately use it. Something just died. And then I want to go here because there's a route to the blacksmith that sells lightning bolts. he sounds big when he falls. Yeah, that's insufficient damage. Alright, that's abysmal. That is acceptable. Not great, but acceptable. I can live with that. Man, I remember when this is just how much damage my crossbow was capable of doing. Alright, now for the tricky one. That's very nice. Really fun how sometimes he dodges like that. Alright. Woo! Alright. Cool.
Comment soon.
Alright. Alright. I can buy another one.
Comment soon. But you, friend, you talk. I no talk, but happy. Comment soon.
Alright. And now I'm going to end it off with another yeet into this particular abyss. Yeet! I'm gonna call it there for today. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe if you want. Leave a comment. I've heard that sort of stuff probably helps, but I don't know. Until next time. Don't take any wooden nickels. Alright. How long has that been? I gotta check something now. It's just... Oh, so it's fine there. Alright. Well. Bye.